Have you seen that the 49ers, Larry, are the only team in the NFL that is favored in every single game this season? They're favored in all 17 games, 11.5 against the Patriots, 9.5 against the Cardinals. So they think that the 49ers are going to blow those teams out. But they're favored by 2 points right now at home against the Chiefs, 2 on the road against the Bills, 1 on the road against the Dolphins. They're favored everywhere. Wow. I mean, that's something else. You normally don't see that. I mean, not every single line will go off that way. Somebody gets hurt, everything changes. We all know that. But for a season, to just start hitting the board for the very first time in Las Vegas and to be favored in every single NFL game, that's number one, very rare. And number two, a level of expectations that here you go, Kyle. Win the Super Bowl right now. You need it. This is it. This is everyone says you got the best team in football, bar none, once again. And that conversation isn't going to follow you into next year. There's no way. So this really is probably that last best shot that they got with this group as they know it. That's incredible, though. Favored in every single game.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm reading an article from the Carton show, Craig Carton, who is, been to jail. Now he's back out. He's
gambling.
Yeah. He says that the 49ers are the best team in football. He says they're the best team in football, and it's not even close. They're the best team, not just in football. They're the best team in the NFC. Well, that seems kind of a opposite, backwards way of. You mean they're not the best team in the NFC? They're the best team in football. He says they're not just the best team in football. They're the best team in the NFC. He said they're a lock to win their division. So, I mean, there are people that believe that the Niners are absolutely elite. I don't, I watch them and I know their roster in, top to bottom. They are not this dominating team that's ahead of everybody. I mean, that's just crazy talk.
Look at it this way. Craig Carton, he's a talented guy, but he normally doesn't talk sports west of the Tappan Zee Bridge. So, Mr. New York, stay in New York. He is the 49ers are not going undefeated. The 49ers are not far and away the best team in football. They might be the best team in football, but they're not far and away. As a matter of fact, I think the gap is closed between how much better they were than everyone last year and then this year. So,
how can you say they're better than Kansas City? Kansas City, the Packers are coming. Yeah, Kansas City kicks their ass all the time. Why? If you're listening to that and you're a Chiefs fan, you're like, there was this thing called the Super Bowl.
Right.
We've beaten you twice in the last 4 years. So Kansas City's got the best, in my mind. Kansas City's got the best offensive player and defensive player and coach. So they're the best team. And then as far as where the Niners sit, I think Kansas City's the best team in pro football. Then you've got the contenders. And the contenders list, I think the serious contenders, and that would be probably Baltimore, Houston in the AFC, Green Bay, Niners, Detroit, and Philly. That's how I would break it down. So you got Kansas City's the clear one, and then you got 6 contenders that I think you could group together. Green Bay, Detroit, Philly, the Niners, Baltimore, and maybe 7. Maybe you could throw the Bengals in there too.
And then on the line underneath that,
with the Ravens and Bengals,
the Miami Dolphins are in that third tier.
Buffalo's
third tier, probably. Maybe. I mean, that's the thing. Buffalo's got a chance to rise or fall out of that, but it's something else to be favored at home in every single game. That's muy agresivo, Las Vegas. Muy agresivo. The 49ers odds to win the Super Bowl right now, Larry, are plus 600. So that means they're getting 6-1. The implied odds they got a 14% chance. A 14% chance to win the Super Bowl. Kansas City's plus 550. That's about a 15% chance. So they really are right there. The Ravens are plus 900. That means Vegas is saying they got about a 10% chance. Those are the top 3 odds on the board. The best bet when you're trying to say, all right, you don't want to take the chalk because it doesn't pay very well. You want to put $50 down. Hey, what can I do with this $50 to turn it into something that I can actually use? The Texans at plus 1,600 $50 would get you 800. The Chargers, Larry, are going off at plus 3,000. $50 would win you $1,500. Of course, it pays $1,550 because you get your $50 back. But those are probably the best chance to make a big bang and not to just be you got no shot of winning that. You got to take somebody from off the lead lap if you want to make money in football.
Yeah. I definitely like Houston. I think Houston's coming. Why is Houston coming? Because Houston made a trade that makes the Herschel Walker trade look like Dallas got nothing. I mean, go look at how the Deshaun Watson trade shook out and look that up and look at the players that Houston got in, they got players and draft choices, and they've now turned that into an amazing array of players. And when you look at it on paper, you're like, that's what happened here. You look at Houston and you're like, wow, Houston. They went from 3 wins to last year. They were this incredible team with CJ Stroud, and wow, they're coming. Yeah, Houston's coming because of the Deshaun Watson trade.
Well, and Watson's impact in Cleveland is it's hard to measure because he's hardly been out there.
Right. I mean, it's been a huge negative for Cleveland, but it's been an overwhelming roster building monster for the Texans. So yeah, I would say the Texans, that's a good one. I think Detroit's clearly coming. I mean, I don't know, I don't know if Goff can get it done, but Detroit's clearly coming. And it's interesting. I mean, there's a couple young teams in the league that, it's like whatever young quarterback. I mean, there was a bunch of young quarterbacks in the draft this year. If I think Atlanta could be coming because I think Penix is real. So, and they've got some nice weapons there. Now, obviously, they still have Kirk Cousins, and that whole thing's going to be kind of a messy transition situation. But I think if I got to pick a third team there, I'd probably go with the Falcons and Penix.
By the way, let's shout out a little professionalism and we can see it. Kirk Cousins, man. Do you see how Kirk Cousins has handled all of this? Well, what do you think about Penix being the pick and you being already looked past and all this stuff? He has handled it perfectly with the Atlanta media. He has answered every single question in a way that, completely entrenches him in the job. And, this kid ain't going to take me out of here. We're being nice to the kid and the rookie anyways. Like Kirk Cousins is a better professional quarterback than anyone wants to give him credit for. When you factor in everything it takes to be a pro quarterback, winning the room, winning the media, winning your teammates over, saying the right thing, not getting anyone in a really awkward situation, being a pro, being easy to deal with, and then being an actual better than halfway decent quarterback when it's all said and done. Kirk Cousins is pretty damn good at being a professional quarterback.
I've interviewed him a couple times. I had him on, a couple times at the Super Bowl, once face-to-face when the Super Bowl was here. Great dude. I mean, he's solid. He's a really solid guy. And he, on the right day, can look the way he looked against the Niners last year in Minnesota, where he was just looked like
carved him up.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible that night. I mean, he was absolutely incredible. But, on the other hand, if in fairness, if we're going to have full disclosure, he doesn't win big games. I mean, if I said, give me the 5 biggest wins of his career, I mean, that Niner win was probably one of them. And it was
right.
Yeah, it was a regular season game that meant a very little significance. And he hasn't won. Has he won a playoff game? He has. I don't remember it.